Hi, I'm Adley. Today, we're talking about reviews, specifically game reviews. Have you ever played a game and thought to yourself, this game is amazing, mid, or bad? Wait a minute, this can apply to everyone. Let's redo that. Have you ever experienced the game? You ever experienced the game and went to Steam and seen that majority of the reviews don't reflect how you felt? Well, today I'm talking about how all of those reviews nowadays are meaningless. Let's get into it. If you're like me that I've spent too much time playing games and surrounding myself around social media, then you know it isn't too uncommon for video games to receive bad press, either from standard reviewer platforms or from consumers. I have noticed with more time that goes by, a lot of things are either excellent, a masterpiece, or extremely terrible. There is no longer a middle point for the audience to take an understanding for. It's either good or bad. The most entertaining idea I find nowadays is that people often sit down with an excellent game and try to nitpick small portions that are within the middle point, yet because that certainty around the subject creates a slight unimpressive experience, then they find the entire game to be bad. Take this Baldur's Gate 3 review as an example. It was rated by this user to not be recommended, while simultaneously saying that 2/3 of the game would be considered their best gaming experience, while also keeping them entertained for over 120 hours. The game costs $60, so if you value $1 by the hour, then they got their money's well worth, considering that only Act 1 takes mostly between 20 to 50 hours. But because Act 3 fell short, they wouldn't recommend it. And I agree that Act 3 did miss a few content marks that the other acts hit perfectly, but it's not by much. Act 3 had only a few minor bugs and ended some storylines too shortly, but let's not get into that. What's the point of me bringing this up, and where am I even going with this? The point I wish to make is that a lot of people are way too eager on giving video games a low scores, resulting in reviews made by consumer less and less eligible to listen to. In the end, some will just ignore the bad rating and give the product their own shot and see for themselves. I wish to go by some points and changes that we have seen the past decade and ask you a question in the end. But let's get into it. Redfall was notorious for being a broken piece of shit on release. It had multiple bugs, boring gameplay loop, ran extremely poorly. It received mostly negative reviews on Steam, yet this guy, this consumer here, would ignore the negative backlash and purchase the game to see for himself how the game is. And I can tell you, I relate to this guy a little bit, but yet he realized a little too late that he should have listened to the reviews. Well, now, why would somebody purchase a $70 game with majority of the reviews being negative? Well, the problem they were facing is a problem majority of the consumers deal with now, and probably affecting your decision making as well. Yeah, you, the viewer. If you're watching this video, then video game clearly is a part of your life. We all have seen company backlash, games with launch issues, bugs and performance issues that only affect people using PCs from 2010. These situations result in people review bombing games, placing it in a bad light. The funniest thing is whenever consumers get tribalistic and wish to go on their own crusade against big corpo, because my corpo is best corpo. Take this Xbox fan, for example. Final Fantasy 16, Horizon Forbidden West, The Last of Us given a 0, while Hi-Fi Rush and Redfall received a 10. Yeah, you heard me right. The Redfall, known to be the worst game that came out this year. I wonder how come these Xbox games received such a high review, while these PlayStation exclusives received a negative. Even if we focus on well-established game reviewers, we will quickly see that their grain of salt is not the correct spice for our decision making. Game reviewers nowadays are notoriously known for focusing on things that don't matter and have favoritism towards companies, so they keep on receiving their review copies. Ooh. There are too many instances where consumer dissatisfaction is much higher than the typical video game reviewer. But again, with everything I mentioned in the earlier parts of the video, we already have established that gamers don't know what the average game is. They are never in the middle ground. It's either terrible, great, or a masterpiece. Perhaps the only time you can trust a video game review site is if it's mediocre. With all those situations going on, all it does is muddying the water with which game is good or bad, making it hard to differentiate if this game is reviewed poorly because of its gameplay or some bullshit reason that has nothing to do with the game. For instance, Wayfinder was an MMO that got released by a pretty massive studio this year. The review section was flooded with negative reviews because an early access game had server issues on launch. And I don't understand how people don't get that new MMO launches have server issues 9 out of 10 times. It should be expected, but it should not be accepted. That's another topic for another day. But anyways, when I saw mostly the negative reviews and reading the top reviews, everyone was talking about the poor server launch. Yet all I wanted to know was if the game was actually good, not about the servers. So I had to go and watch a content creator play the game before making up my mind. And you know what? The game sucked. I couldn't find a valid review to take criticism for, so I had to initiate my own steps to either purchase the game or watch gameplay. I feel like a lot of people run into these issues nowadays, or often decide that checking reviews aren't even worth it. Review bombing, in my opinion, is a big issue. Or should I say, review protests, as it ruins the entire purpose of what reviews is for. During situations where server issues or poor console ports occur on launch, it shouldn't be the review section getting flooded with criticisms toward it, only for all of the issues to be gone within a few hours or days. It should be the publisher's wallet. Are you refunding the game? The review section should be used to criticize the gameplay and share individual experiences of the game, not talk about the current thing the internet loves to hate on. So that brings into the question, what should we do about all of these negative reviews that clearly has nothing to do with the game? Nothing at all. It's a complicated situation, and if you allow storefronts like Steam or publishers to remove what they deem as spam, then you open Pandora's box into another situation. There is not really much to do, but beside having a personal responsibility to be a bit more fair. The whole reason I made this video is to talk about what I've experienced and hear everyone else's initial thought. I think with time passing and these situations repeating for nearly a decade has made me lose interest and care to look at reviews. There is no longer a way for me to know if a product is good without experiencing it, but perhaps you can share your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Do you think getting valid reviews will get worse in a decade? Feel free to tell me in the comment section or on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Atlee. I stream as much as I can over there and would love to hear from you. This is the first time I've made a video like this, and I'll try to do more and try to improve the format. If you're interested in similar topic discussion videos or reactions, then you are free to subscribe. I'm having a blast recently focusing on YouTube, so I'll try to get another video like this out as soon as possible. Thank you for the likes and the comments. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.